Ever felt that look when you say no thanks while everyone around you has a beer in hand? Like something's missing. Like you need to explain why you're not doing what everyone else is doing. Maybe you've experienced that awkward pause where someone always asks, but why not? And then come the theories. You're boring. You have health problems. You must have had some traumatic experience. Sometimes they even push. Just one. What's the harm? As if your no needs to be negotiated. Turns out there's something much deeper behind this, and it has to do with how your brain is wired long before you made any conscious decision about alcohol. But before we dive in, if you find this fascinating, hit that subscribe button. We explore the hidden science behind everyday behaviors, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for what's coming. Now, when someone consistently turns down a beer, it's not just a taste preference. There are specific mental patterns that explain this behavior, and science has been studying them for years with surprising results. First, there's something called an internal locus of control. Sounds technical, but it's simple. It's when you feel like you're steering your own life with your own hands, not based on what others expect from you. It's like having an internal compass that always points toward what you truly want, not what you should want. So when someone with this pattern sees that drinking beer is the norm at a gathering, their brain asks an automatic question. Do I actually want this, or would I only do it because everyone else is? The difference is subtle, but powerful. While most people flow with social expectations, almost without thinking, like when everyone applauds and you clap too without knowing exactly why, these people have an internal filter that always asks, is this coming from me or from outside? Is this my genuine decision? Or am I responding to the environment? And here's where it gets interesting. Studies on decision-making show that these people have more active prefrontal cortexes. That's the part of the brain that analyzes consequences before acting. It's like an internal advisor that evaluates risks. While others make decisions based on social impulse or the emotion of the moment, they've already calculated 3 steps ahead. How will they feel tomorrow? What will they do after? Is it really worth it? What other options do they have? It's not that they're better or worse. They simply process decisions differently, more analytically, more deliberately. This doesn't make them cold or calculating. Their brain is just wired to pause where others accelerate, and those pauses give them valuable information. Think about it. Most social drinking happens on autopilot. Someone offers, you accept, you drink. But for these individuals, there's a checkpoint, a moment where they genuinely ask themselves if this aligns with what they want for themselves, not just what the situation calls for. And you know what? That's actually a sign of psychological autonomy. Research in behavioral psychology shows that people with strong internal locus of control tend to have better long-term outcomes in health, relationships, and career satisfaction. Not because they're superior, but because they're consistently making choices that actually align with their values. But there's more, and almost no one notices this. Many of these people have what's known as heightened sensory sensitivity. Basically, their nervous system processes stimuli with more intensity than average. Think about this. The bitter taste of beer isn't just a little bitter to them. The sensation of losing a bit of control isn't relaxing. It's anxiety-inducing. The subtle changes in their body, the warmth rising, the way their thinking shifts, how their tongue feels, everything is amplified. It's like having the volume on sensations turned up higher than everyone else. Everything sounds louder, everything feels more intense. Look at it this way. If someone feels every sensation at double the intensity what you experience as a slight pleasant relaxation, they experience as noticeably losing their internal balance. They're not being dramatic. They're simply feeling more, processing more information from each experience. It's like their sensory settings were configured differently from the factory, and when that information tells them this doesn't feel good, they trust it. They've learned to listen to those signals. This isn't weakness or oversensitivity in a negative sense. It's actually a neurological trait. Studies on sensory processing sensitivity show that about 15 to 20% of the population has this trait. Their brains process sensory information more deeply. For these people, the first sip of beer isn't just a taste. It's a cascade of sensations. The carbonation, the bitterness, the temperature, the texture, the way it changes their mouth chemistry, the initial effect on their stomach, all of it registers more intensely. And when their system consistently sends the message, this is unpleasant, why would they override that? Why would they force themselves to acquire a taste for something their body is clearly rejecting? That would be like training yourself to ignore pain. Sure, you could do it, but why would you, when the pain is giving you useful information? Now, there's also what we call an aversion to altered states. Imagine your mind is like your home, your most intimate personal space. Some people are comfortable leaving the doors open, allowing changes to enter, even disorder or unpredictability. They can flow with uncertainty. They adapt quickly. Others prefer to keep everything under their supervision, knowing exactly what's happening in every corner, having control over their mental space. And look, this isn't irrational fear or paranoia. It's a legitimate preference for personal security, and it's completely valid. Alcohol changes how you think, how you talk, how you react, your response times, your judgment about situations, even what you consider funny or important. For someone who values having total clarity about themselves, that feels like losing something very valuable. It's like someone moving the furniture in your house without your permission, reorganizing your space without consulting you. And contrary to what many believe, it's not that these people are controlling, rigid, or incapable of enjoying themselves. They simply want to have control over their own internal experience. You know what I mean? Over their own mental and emotional state. Here's what many people don't understand. For these individuals, their clarity of mind isn't just a preference. It's a core value. It's how they navigate the world, how they make decisions, how they maintain their sense of self. When they see alcohol removing that clarity, even temporarily, it's not a feature. It's a bug. It's not relaxation, it's vulnerability. And not the good kind of vulnerability that builds connection, but the kind that makes them feel less like themselves. Think about people who meditate, who practice mindfulness, who value presence and awareness. Would you ask them to chemically blur that awareness for social acceptance? It would contradict everything they work toward. The same applies here. These people have built their lives around mental clarity, and alcohol directly opposes that value. And here's where many people get it wrong. There's another crucial factor that's rarely mentioned: emotional opportunity cost. Basically, every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. We can't be in two places at the same time or experience two states simultaneously. It's impossible. These people have calculated, consciously or unconsciously, that the small moment of social connection a beer might provide doesn't compensate for what they lose in the exchange. Energy the next day, money spent, mental clarity during the night, and the following day, or simply the deep satisfaction of staying true to themselves. And you know what they prefer: investing that social energy in other ways that feel more rewarding to them. A deep 2-hour conversation gives them more real satisfaction than the temporary disinhibiting effect of alcohol. They prefer authentic connection, where both people are fully present, over chemically facilitated connection. And this is key. They're not missing out, they're choosing differently. While others might need alcohol to feel comfortable opening up, these people have developed the skill of connecting authentically without it. They've learned to be vulnerable, funny, relaxed, and social while completely sober. And honestly, that's actually a more developed social skill. It's harder to be genuinely yourself without any social lubricant. It requires more emotional intelligence, more self-awareness, more courage in some ways. So when someone suggests they need to loosen up with a drink, they're actually asking them to abandon a skill they've worked hard to develop. Many of these people also have what we call a different reward threshold. Science tells us that your brain works on a reward system, releasing dopamine when we do pleasurable things. But not everyone needs the same intensity of stimulus to feel good or satisfied. While some need strong, novel, intense, constant stimuli, others get sufficient satisfaction from subtler, quieter things. A good conversation, an interesting book, a mindful walk, being present in the moment just as it is. For these people, alcohol doesn't add anything they actually need. They're already satisfied with the natural intensity of life. They don't feel like anything's missing. This isn't about being boring or lacking spontaneity. It's about having a different neurochemical baseline. Research on dopamine sensitivity shows significant individual variation. Some people have naturally higher baseline dopamine levels or more sensitive dopamine receptors. They don't need external substances to feel good because their internal system already provides sufficient reward. It's like the difference between someone who needs loud music to feel energized versus someone who finds energy in silence. Neither is wrong. They're just different. These individuals have discovered that their optimal state, the state where they feel most alive, most themselves, most capable, doesn't require alteration. It's already there. Alcohol doesn't enhance it, it diminishes it. They've found their natural high, and it's better than anything a drink could provide. And finally, something that makes a profound difference. Many of these people grew up seeing the effects of alcohol up close in other people, not necessarily anything traumatic, violent, or extreme, but enough to learn without needing to experiment themselves. They observed, processed, concluded. They saw patterns repeat in family members, friends, acquaintances, co-workers. They observed how behavior changed, impulsive decisions that later caused problems, words that were later regretted, uncomfortable situations, difficult Mondays. They noticed the same thing happening again and again, and they drew intelligent conclusions before it became their own habit. Conclusions based on what they saw, not abstract ideas. It's like learning that fire burns without needing to stick your hand in it. Observation was sufficient. They saw the complete pattern. Initial fun, gradual loss of control, consequences after, regret, and then the cycle repeats. And they decided to opt out of the cycle from the beginning. This is actually advanced social learning. While some people need to experience consequences directly to learn from them, these individuals learned vicariously. They saw the experiment run multiple times in the lab of real life, saw the results, and made informed decisions based on the data. They didn't need to personally experience the hangover, the regrettable text, the embarrassing moment, the strained relationship, or the wasted money. They saw it happen to others and thought, I can skip that lesson. That's not fear, that's wisdom. What's curious about all of this is that society interpreted it completely backward, as if something was missing in these people, as if they needed to let loose, relax more, live a little, stop thinking so much. But science shows the opposite. These people simply have different configurations in how they process rewards, risks, social belonging, and personal well-being. It's not a defect to repair. It's a completely valid and functional variation of how a healthy human brain operates. In fact, some studies suggest that these people tend to have greater clarity about their personal values, better self-knowledge, more coherence between what they think and what they do, and less of that mental discomfort that comes from doing things that contradict what you truly believe or value. And that's not a small thing. Drinking beer isn't a void to fill. It's not resistance, stubbornness, or rigidity. It's a decision that emerges from how your mind, body, nervous system, and life priorities function. It's listening to internal signals instead of external pressures. It's choosing personal coherence over automatic social acceptance. If any of this makes sense to you, if you recognize these patterns in your way of thinking and deciding, there are probably many more aspects of how your mind works that you'd like to understand better. Because in the end, we're all different in something. And understanding why some people don't do what most do helps us understand everyone better, including ourselves. Now, if you found this video valuable, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're diving deep into the psychology behind everyday behaviors that most people never question. Next week, we're exploring why some people are chronically late and what their brains are actually doing. Differently, you won't want to miss it. Drop a comment below. Are you someone who doesn't drink, or do you know someone like this? What patterns have you noticed? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.